Arneis is rare in Australia, but rarer still is consensus in a blind tasting, and this wine was chosen as one of the top Arneis in the country by a majority of our expert panel. We recently held a blind tasting of Arneis, part of our deep dive series at younggunofwine.com. Our panel of winemakers and sommeliers picked their favourites, tasted completely blind. And this wine, the 2022 Pankhurst Wines Arneis, was selected as one of the top wines. And in the glass, there's a really interesting combination of characters with alpine herbs and nougat and struck match and beeswax aromas coupled with nectarine fruit. Then on the palate, there's a sense of really ripe grapefruit and stone fruits with a bit of an almond croissant character too. There's a generosity to the palate, but it has a really clean, crisp, bitter-almond finish. And with hints of pastry-like characters in this wine, it has some intriguing shades of Chardonnay, but those subtle almond characters are a telltale sign of the Arneis variety. Arneis comes from Piedmont in the northwest of Italy and is especially associated with Roero, which is one of the cooler pockets of Piedmont. And Arneis can produce wines with a really pleasing medium to full body and a rounded texture, but the grapes can lose acidity quickly as they reach the end of that ripening period. So vineyard sites with good diurnal temperature range are valuable, and the Canberra District, where this wine is from, suits the grape, with its high altitude bringing sunny days for flavour ripeness, followed by cool nights that help preserve and retain acidity and perfume and freshness in the wine. And in the mid-1980s, Christine and Allan Pankhurst established the Pankhurst vineyard, and they started with the traditional French varieties, and then they added Tempranillo and Sangiovese in the 2000s, and then 10 years ago, they planted Arneis. They were looking for a variety that suited their climate, and they loved that approachable palate weight that Arneis delivered. And oak is typically avoided in Arneis winemaking to preserve its delicate aromatic profile, and Pankhurst ferment theirs in a stainless steel tank to capture those aromatics. And after fermentation, the wine then spends a few months on its lees, the sediment of spent yeast cells and grape matter left after fermentation, and they add texture and mouthfeel. And rather than stirring them to promote the lees character in the wine, Pankhurst just let them settle to the bottom of the tank so that the integration is more subtle. And their thinking was the wine's natural tendency to a fuller body meant it didn't need the extra winemaking artifact. And they're clearly doing something right. The wine was highlighted by a majority of our panellists in the blind tasting as one of the top Arneis in the country. For our full deep dive into Arneis, head to younggunofwine.com. Cheers.